whatever you got going on, everybody else got it going on too.
Right.
So however hard you think it is for you, please know that is everybody else's reality. I haven't met anybody yet that is just out here just skating through life with no obstacles.
I don't trust
no
them.
challenges.
If they talk like that.
If they try to sell you that lie, listen, don't believe it. But just know that, everybody that you are inspired by, they're just trying to figure it out.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of It's Giving. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. This is where we have real, raw, transparent conversations to create healing and dynamic conversations in the house, guys. Oh my goodness, if you have not yet, please make sure to click that subscribe button below and hit the bell so you get a notification every Wednesday when we post these episodes. And today, I am joined by an incredible woman. She is a boss babe, a serial entrepreneur, a mother, a wife. She's out here making things happen, creating access and possibility for other people. Can you please, well, y'all can't, I won't hear you, but can we please give it up for Koereyelle?
In the building.
Oh my God. Hey girl, how you doing?
Hey boo, I'm in the building.
You are here. I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. How do you feel? How was your day so far?
My day has been crazy. I've been on the run as usual, but we made time for this. We were able to be flexible. Thank you. And
yes, we worked it out.
Yes.
So I have to ask you, the show is called It's Giving. And if this chapter of your life were called It's Giving blank, and you have to fill in the blank, what would this chapter be called? And you have to say it's giving.
It's giving flexibility.
Ooh.
I have definitely had to learn the art of bending but not breaking.
Ooh.
As a new mommy of two.
Yes.
So I am fully in my season of the boot camp of mommyhood.
Okay.
So flexibility is the season that it's giving.
I love that. Do you feel like it's been kicked into high gear now that you do have two little ones? And how old are they?
They are 7 months, and my 2-year-old will be 3.
Wait, pause, rewind. 7 months?
Yes, girl. I had a baby January 30th.
Girl, baby,
year.
Where?
Thank you, baby. Waist trainer. My waist trainer's down.
No, I just saw you the other day. There was no waist trainer.
Well, on and off, in between public sightings.
You look so good.
Thank you.
How did you do that?
The Lord.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I
Praise me.
I'm not going to be one of these liars out here. Like, I've been out here snapbacking in the gym. I put on a waist trainer.
Okay.
And said a prayer. And here we are. I am going to go to the gym, though. I need to.
You look great.
Thank you.
Whatever you're doing, it's working.
Thank you.
Praise me. Goals.
Praise him. Yes, that is the Lord.
So an almost 3-year-old and a 7-month-old.
Yes.
So do you feel like that has slingshot you into flexibility? Because 2 under 2 is busy.
I think that it has given me no choice but to dig deep to figure out how to navigate all of the different roles and responsibilities that I have.
Yes.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fact.
That is a fact.
What do you think has been the biggest learning curve having 2 under 2?
Oh, I think time management. This has taught me that my time management is trash.
Oh.
It's getting better now, but any mom, I literally just saw somebody post about between the time you drop a kid off and the time you pick them up at the end of the day, it's like 3 minutes has gone by. Like by the time you blink, you got to go pick them up.
Yeah.
And that was my experience for over a year. It was literally like the moment I dropped him off, it seemed like I had to go back and get him, and I was not managing my time well. So now things, have changed a little bit, and he's much closer to home, so I'm able to get him there quicker, and I can have more of the day. But you have to be so intentional with your time. I think that's been the biggest adjustment.
Yeah. I have 2 godsons, and I had a godson for 2 weeks in California, and his mom had just gotten married, and they were on their honeymoon, and I was like, yeah, and I'm very active as a godmother. So I was taking him to school every morning, and I found that if I had a schedule, I was okay. But those days where I might have woke up late so I couldn't put on makeup, or the days where I wasn't as organized, my life was in either shambles or I was like, oh my God, we were brushing our teeth together in the morning. It was really cute or really tragic. So I can almost relate, although it's definitely different because
That's some on the job training though.
Oh,
How old is he?
At the time he was 4, now he's 6.
Okay, yeah. Get you an 18-month-old.
Oh my God.
So.
I have 12 nieces and nephews though.
That'll do it.
And I'm favorite auntie for almost all of them, maybe not all. But
But
shout
the
out.
majority.
But I think most of them I am. Yeah. My sister's better with some, but I think we dibble and dabble.
Okay.
So I have to ask you, because you said almost 3, and that actually is telling me that you were giving birth during a time that that rhymes with schmovid.
Yeah, I have a pandemic baby.
Yes. How did that go? Did you get to have your husband in the room with you? Like,
so I gave birth March 2021. So it was towards the end of like the mask mandates, all of that stuff was still in place, but they had lightened up on like the hospital visitation. So at one point, I don't think you could have a support person at all, and then you could have one. So by the time I, was giving birth, I was able to have my husband, but I had actually planned on having a home birth. So and throughout my entire pregnancy, I did what's called dual care. So I went to see the traditional, doctors through my insurance. And then I also had a midwife. And so my husband did get to come throughout the pregnancy to the midwife appointment. So that was kind of supplementing the craziness that was going on at the time.
Yes. Did you have a home birth?
I did not have a home birth. I ended up at the hospital.
Was there a reason why?
Yeah, I ended up getting dehydrated literally like 2 days after my due date. And because I was after the due date, they didn't want to play around with it. So they sent me to the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to be in a bathtub in my living room, the blown up little bathtub. I want that too.
That was ideal.
Yes.
That was ideal. Yeah.
But good for you. You figured it out.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
That baby got out. And that is like my advice or wisdom that I share with other women who are like me and had like such strong, determination about what their birth plan was and what their story was going to be, and
flexibility
that led to so much stress, so much undue stress that I put on myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's normal that you do that because you want what you want and, you want to have it your way.
Yeah.
But get the baby out.
Period.
And as long
in
as
a healthy way.
As long as both of y'all go home healthy, that's ideal.
It's giving flexibility.
And here we are.
Yes, exactly. Yes, full circle. Yep. I love that. Wow. So did you always know, because I know you're young. Some people, we are young. We are young, girl. We're still young. You're giving me hope right now.
Question marks around my head when she says young. Thank you.
You're young. But you have 2 kids under the age of 2. Do you want to share your age?
I will be 38 in a couple weeks.
So some would say it might be scary to get pregnant at 35, 36.
I was a geriatric mother, yes.
Yeah. Not geriatric. Well, I will be, because I'm still not. I would have to be pregnant right now, and I'm still geriatric. So
I got pregnant when I was 34. I had my birthday, and literally like the very next appointment, they had like geriatric all across the chart.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, the day you turn 35, you're a geriatric.
That is so disrespectful.
Pregnancy. It is. It's like now you're in the nursing home. Welcome. Yeah. That's what it is. It's very disrespectful.
Well, then that's me, because I'm 35 and I don't have kids yet.
Yeah.
It's giving geriatric for me.
That's just what it is. It's rude.
You have to excuse me while I hold down my lace on this side. Guys, if you can't see me because you're listening, it's giving. I am obsessed with the virgin hair fantasy, and I love them because they're like ready to wear wigs. So I can like totally switch up my look, but I didn't want to gel because we have another look to do later today. So if you see me holding this down, it's so my whole wig doesn't fall off. Wow.
That would be a moment.
It would go viral.
It would go viral.
And my hair is cute under here. I ain't gonna lie. I got hair now, girl. So back to geriatric. So was any part of you nervous to get pregnant, being over or being 34 years old? And then again at what, 36?
Yes, I got pregnant at 34, delivered at 35, got pregnant at 36, delivered at 37. Yeah. This is out of control at this point. No, because the alternative would be to not have kids. So I was not going to give any time or energy to the fears around it, because that was my reality. So I've even heard of these TikTok rabbit holes that women are going down and just learning about just, if you get caught in like the percentages, the chances of the risks and all of those things, you'll be scared to do anything.
Period.
So I knew that I wanted to have kids.
Yeah.
I knew that I was getting older.
Yeah.
And this was the circumstance. So I did do research to know like what I was up against, but I didn't get lost in a rabbit hole of like the fear mongering, statistics of, I think it's like when you turn 35, you have like 2 eggs left. You know, they
I'm so
just
sick
try
of them.
to beat you down with all of the scary things. Like, well, if that's the case, I'm still gonna try. So,
girl,
yeah.
I have a really good friend of mine, and he cracks up on me all the time because I'm not married yet. We're single till we're married. I'm not married, and I don't have children yet. And he's like, "Oh yeah, your eggs are dust." I'm like, first of all, no, it's not.
Mind your business.
Mind your business. You know,
that is not the case. And there's so many women that I think are examples of the possibility of healthy pregnancy.
I'm sitting next to one.
Thank you.
Period.
Thank you.
Period. It's giving flexibility.
It's true. And I will also say it's giving honesty, right?
Yes.
I will also say I had never been pregnant before I got pregnant with my first son. Being 34 and had never been pregnant, I had definitely had the thoughts of, well, is something wrong with me? Like, I never had a slip up. I've never had anything. So the thoughts of, am I going to be able to get pregnant? Am I going to have to go out of my way to, supplement things? Am I going to have to try this and that? And so that is where I was. That's what I was preparing for. So I had just gotten engaged. And literally got pregnant like 2 months later. So in between, it was only 2 months, but in between, my mind was, what are the supplements and teas and all of the things that I needed to start buying to prepare my body? So that is what I was on, but I wasn't thinking like, oh my God, it's not going to be possible.
Yeah. So how long did you date before you were engaged to your husband?
We met 2017 and we got engaged 2020.
Oh, okay.
So
it's been a while. You guys have been together over 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
6.
I was going to say, so did you, yeah. So I was like in my mind trying to do the math. So did you guys plan on having kids soon?
No, we ain't planned none. We ain't had a chance to plan none of these babies yet. I have not had the pleasure of planning a pregnancy yet. He has not given me that opportunity or luxury.
Oh my goodness.
We got surprised children over here.
That's okay. I was a surprise to my parents.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Fun. We got fun time.
A surprise you can never get rid of. It's like they stick. Yep. That's a good kind of surprise.
They are still here.
Yes, praise be. I'm still here.
Right?
I'm grateful. Surprise. I love it. Okay, so being a successful Black woman. So I have 2 questions, 2-part question. Number 1, do you believe in a 50-50 household?
Ooh. So I saw an interview that Tabitha did, and I agree with what she said, her answer to this. And she said that she married her husband to be her partner and not her provider. So that's my answer to your question.
Okay.
Because I know that life is seasonal.
Yes.
I know that in this season, I might be winning. My businesses might be at the point where they could be funding our household, and maybe my husband's salary is going towards investments or, something else. That might be the season we're in right now.
Yes.
Next season we're in, it might flip. And maybe my business is in, a down season, and now we have to rely on his salary to pay things come and go. And I have definitely seen that happen just personally, and even in the businesses that we started together. So I believe in we gonna do what we gotta do household. I'm not like, what I'm bringing to the table, he can have any piece of what I'm bringing to the table, and vice versa. So it's not a counting and like penny pinching and nickel and diamond. Like, well, did you pay X number of dollars to the, down to the penny of what I paid? We don't do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually can't stand. So for me, I love to give, period. I love to give to strangers. I love to give to family. I love to give to friends. I am a giver through and through. And have you ever noticed when there's like those people where it's like, they remember every single thing that they've ever, I don't even remember. After it's gone, I forget. Like, I don't even know what I've given before in the past, because I just do it from my heart. And then when people try to get petty, like, oh, well, I brought toilet paper to your house one time, and then I bought a bottle of water and forgot it there, so it stayed in your fridge and you got to drink it. What are we talking about? Yeah, it's petty. It's not cute. It's not cute. But I do feel like right now inside of society, there is this argument between, should a man be the sole provider or not? If it came down to a space of, because there's no right or wrong way to do anything, to be honest. It's really what works best for you, and inside of having a partnership at the end of the day, because I do want a provider and a partner, right? And I do feel like my money is great, but what can I do with my money that's different, in my opinion, outside of like the mortgage? Yeah, I'll do the trips, I'll do the this, I'll do the that. That's what I want for my, and that's been my experience thus far, you know? So although I'm not married yet, but inside of that, I do know that my ex before my last lost everything. So much so we had never lived together. It wasn't a choice for us to live together, but he came to live with me for a year while he was getting on his feet. And so I understand things are seasonal. There are ups, there are downs. Absolutely. We are figure it out people. We gonna make a way out of no way, period. But I still do feel like I prefer, that's my preference. People will crucify you for your preference, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I think with preference, having a preference is 100% your prerogative. But I also, and I think the other side of it that we just have to remember is possibility versus like probability.
Yes.
So it's like, what is possible? There's a whole lot of things that are possible, but what's probable?
Yes.
There's probably going to be some ebbs and flows.
Yes.
And so I have dated men that have, or one specific man that I can think of that was X number of years older than me and was set in his businesses. And there was, like the probability that he was going to hit rock bottom probably wasn't going to happen. Right. Because he had set himself up in such a way that he was probably set. Yeah. Unless you insert yourself into like a ready-made situation like that, I don't think that you can really guarantee or really even bet on like things not going down at some point. So I think that having a man who desires to be a provider, like that's a desire he has. Yes. That to me is important. Yes. So that the intention to be the intention to be a provider is more important to me than are you actually going to be able to provide every single thing and I'm going to be able to sit back and do nothing for the rest of my life? That's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. And I don't think because I'm in my experience, I don't sit back and do nothing, even though I'm being provided for. Like I even think about during the Schmovid, the word that rhymes with Schmovid, I couldn't sit down and do nothing. Like I started learning how to trade. I wrote a book. I created a course. Like I was doing all of these different things because I'm never that person that can do nothing. And I think that that's where a lot of the times it could be confusing, especially in Atlanta, because I have guy friends that will tell me these horror stories about how they'll go on a date with a woman one time. And on the second time, she's like, oh, I'm struggling to pay my rent next month. And what's the man's last name? Well, how many siblings does he have? When's his birthday? And it's like, okay, so I can understand. But I do feel like because there are so many of those women, it's almost tearing down the woman that has like, I don't want to say an expectation, but the desire or the preference to have a man that provides. I'm not asking you for anything. In a masculine energy naturally wants to provide. So that's what I'm saying versus I don't need you for your money. I'm doing this on my own anyway, right now.
I think that energy speaks for itself. Yes. Because I also hear the other side of that. The other side, I guess, of the complaint would be women who have the "I don't need you" attitude. Oh. So it's so much gray area. It's hard out here in these streets.
Yeah. Where have you ever had the "I don't need you" energy? Because I know you're out here killing it in business, girl, doing your thing.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. I don't know how I would have avoided that. Being single, being a boss, being not having to answer to anybody, I don't know how you could be anything other than that until you have to be. So I think it's the adjustment that people get on podcasts and criticize women for, but there has to be an adjustment. Yes. Whenever you are entering a new space, a new season, there's going to be an adjustment period.
I did another episode with an amazing woman, and she was talking about how she wanted her husband to spiritually lead her, but he wasn't necessarily strong in that area, but he's working on it. Like the desire for growth in that area. It's like, okay, I can still trust that you can be a leader in this area versus compromising. Okay, I just don't need it. Right. So in the same same way, if for men that are dating successful women, do you have the patience? You don't have to compromise. Oh, she's never going to follow my lead, but can you be patient with the process to grow, because growth takes time?
Can you work with her?
Yes.
And I think that's the question on both sides, is can we compromise?
Yes.
So that's what that is full circle.
Giving.
Full circle. The flexibility,
yes.
and then also I want a provider, but I am flexible in knowing that this is possible too.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to just jump ship at the first sign of whatever. I'm willing to talk through it if you're worthwhile. I'm
willing to if you're worthwhile.
Yeah, if you're worthwhile. And I was literally interviewing somebody yesterday, Cody from Black Love, for my podcast, and she sat down with over 200 happy couples. You know, they were happy at the time, but 200 happy couples. And I'm like, well, after talking to all of these people, what are the common denominators? What are some of these lessons that you've learned? Because as a single person, what you won't put up with in a relationship is totally different than when you are a wife and life comes at you fast, and it's just a totally different situation. So I think the fantasy of what we're going to do versus the reality of what we do is totally different. Yeah. And her answer was, what she's learned over the years is like, it really takes a commitment to be committed. Yes. So it's like, yes, ideally, this is what I want. The dream life that we have together, this is what it looks like. But are we willing to be flexible with one another? Are we committed so much to one another that even if this vision starts to look a little different, like, we're willing to compromise, we're willing to play the role that I need to play in this season. I got to know how to play my position in this season versus what I might have agreed to last year. Like, that changes every single day. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, especially in today's society, I think it's just a softer generation. People don't know how to stick it out with anything, not in business, not in relationships, not in friendships. Like, you see people just jump ship so quickly now. And I think that a part of me, and it's so funny, I'm very transparent. It just is what it is. You know, you're going to get what you're going to get. And one of the things that I had realized while talking to my therapist is, like, my parents have been together for decades, right? And my dad ruptured a disc in his back when I was 10 years old. We went from a 2-family income household to 1. My mom had all of us kids, my dad's injury, her own life, a full-time job, going to school full-time, trying to get her master's in engineering, and also trying to make sure that we weren't homeless all at once, while still making my dad the head of household. Now we're on our second battle with cancer with my dad. Like, he's gone through so many things. My mom still makes him head of household, right? My dad still respects my mom as a queen she is. He doesn't allow his ego to get into the way. And I feel like I've seen their level of ride or die love. And I'm like, not to say that it's perfect, because it's not. I'm sure that they've had, tiffs and arguments and all of those different things. However, what I'm very clear on, my parents would never leave each other, and the level of how they love each other is so high level that I desire that. So when I look at, I'm having an amazing experience, don't get me wrong. There are great men out here, but there are more weak men out here pretending to be strong.
What does that look like, Sarah?
What, weak men?
Weak men pretending to be strong.
It looks like men that,
like, toxic masculinity, is that?
I mean, it could include that. I think that for a lot of the things that I see, because I have a very affluent circle, and I think that somewhere down the line, a lot of men think that having money is enough. And it's not. It's a part of it. That's important. Like Zig Ziglar says, money is important, or money's not the most important thing, but it's right up there with oxygen. We need it to live, right? So yes, it's important, but what is your character like? And I think that a lot of men are really great at building business, but not great with emotional intelligence, not great with emotional regulation, not great at accountability, not great at leadership. It's like, you can lead this business, but you can't lead this woman, right? And I actually saw on a podcast, there was a woman that was saying, weak men make women masculine. Strong men make women feminine, because we can trust and just take off our armor. So for me, I'm not even speaking from personal experience, because again, I'm having a great experience. Now I'm having a really great experience. However, I think that men pretend to have all the answers, and it's like, well, look at all this stuff that I have. Okay, well, when you take away this stuff, who are you really? And if you can't look in the mirror and be proud, if you can't set clear, healthy boundaries, if you can't put yourself and make yourself into a person that other people look at and it's like, I have to respect you because of the way that you carry yourself and that essence. And there's always going to be haters, but we don't care about them. But you are what you say that you are.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a whole different type of man, you know?
I think that it's really a societal thing, because I don't think women are necessarily holding men to those standards. I think the women who are few and far between.
Yep.
So men have gotten so accustomed to and comfortable with that bare minimum of, if I buy this, if I can afford that, then this behavior is acceptable. I think the term high value man has gotten misconstrued with like high earning man.
Yep, I agree.
Is what people are really talking about. Like, do you have money is what people are talking about. That's what they really mean, but they're saying high value. But to your point, high value, in my opinion, is actually having values. You know, like, what are your values? What are your morals aside from your money? Like, money don't make you cool.
Period.
Money doesn't make you a good person. Money really just highlights who you truly are. It gives you free reign to be the asshole or, you know, the amazing person whoever you truly are deep down inside. So I think that we, just Black people, period, have to start valuing something other than money.
Yes.
Because even as, you know, if we start talking about like celebrities and influencers, we are okay with bad behavior as long as there's some money behind it. We are okay with celebrating anything that is quote unquote successful based on money. And that is a cultural thing.
For sure.
I think. So I think how we view that culturally is indicative of our, you know, relationships.
Yeah, it's in our music. It's in everything. It's in our art. It's in everything. And it's degrading, really. And I don't think that people necessarily understand how subliminal the degrading message is. And then to perpetuate that same degrading message, right? That's why, I don't listen to a lot of things. I don't watch a lot of things. People make fun of me because I live under a rock, as one of our guests has said. Like, I don't know much about much. I only know what I know. You know, I stay in my lane and I stay out the way. But I do think that there is danger in not having a standard. And I think that it's our most beautiful opportunity to set standards in our own lives. So how did you know that your husband was your husband? And how did you start taking a lead? Like, what did you have to do to be that feminine woman?
Oh, wait. So how did I start taking a lead?
No. How did you know that your husband was your husband? And how did you start trusting his lead for you to fall into your feminine?
Okay. I would have to say, as cliche as it sounds, on the very first date we went on. So it had been, you know, a couple of weeks between the time we actually met and the first date that we went on. But leaving that first date, we went to dinner and I felt like he might not be my husband, because I've had those dates where it's like, oh, you know, you're gonna be my husband. Let me put my name with your last name and all that little shit. So it wasn't that, but it was, I like this guy. Like, if he's not the one, I at least want to know him. Like, I want to know him. That's how I felt. Like, we had such a great conversation. It was so natural. It was not the typical showing up as who you think you need to be on a first date. It was very much so, I'm tired of all of that. This is who I am. Hello.
Yes,
this is who I really am. This is, you know, where I am in life. These are the things that, you know, I'm working on. Who are you? And we just had a very friendly conversation, and we literally grew into friends from there. So he had actually been married previously. I felt like, I'm not about to get into a relationship just to be in a relationship. He felt the same way, but because he had been married, I'm like, well, you need to do whatever you need to do to make sure that when we get into a relationship, like, we are ready to be in a relationship. So, you know, I don't know what he was doing, but I gave him a couple months to, you know, figure that out. And then when we finally decided we were going to be committed, that whole time leading up to that, which ended up being like 6 months, we were developing a friendship. So we had talked about everything. We had all of the conversations. We had just really got to know each other without the pressure of trying to be perfect.
Yes. I love that. So it was just organic.
It was organic, and he led. That is how I was able to follow his lead. I think so often, we have these conversations about submission, and I'm not going, why would I listen to? And it's that mindset comes from you choosing people you can't trust.
Period. Oh, talk about it.
Come into contact with a man who naturally takes the lead, you're going to follow his lead.
Yes.
As a woman, you're naturally going to fall into your feminine.
Yes.
To your point, a masculine man is going to naturally bring the feminine out of you. He ain't going to have to force it out of you. Mm-mm. He's not going to tell you this is where we're going. He did hit me with a couple, I want to see you tonight. Make sure you're ready by this time. And I'm like, okay. I will be there. I'll be downstairs and ready.
Right.
So those were the things that it was like he didn't have to force it.
Yeah.
He didn't have to force it. He just was a man. He is a man. And that naturally put me into that feminine that I was not comfortable even being in.
Before, yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I can relate. I always joke, like there's a relationship I'm thinking about in particular where this man said his mom used to make fresh baked bread weekly. Girl, I started baking bread every week.
Couldn't be me, though.
Girl, I started baking bread. I was making banana breads. He liked casseroles. First of all, he was a black man, okay? I didn't know black people really ate a lot of casseroles. I didn't know that was a thing. He loved casserole. I started making I didn't even know how to make a casserole.
What was happening, Sarah? He just brought that out of you?
He brought it all the way out of me.
Don't get no ideas.
Yeah. And even and granted, I have like a laundry service and all of these different things, but even like doing his laundry, folding his stuff up, it was like I wanted to go the extra mile for him in that way. And I think that, and again, I'm so grateful that I walked away from that relationship. He's a great guy. He's just not my guy, but I'm so grateful that I got glimpses of the version of me that feels safe enough to be in my feminine, to really follow a lead. Because whatever that man was saying, I was with. I was like, look, all right, let's go. Let's go. And granted, we weren't aligned in ways that were important to me, but ultimately I know now more of my desires. I know more of what I'm looking for and what is important for me to feel, because I do feel like a lot of women, they're like, ooh, he needs to be 6 foot, whatever, tall and handsome. I don't care. Can you be give me a 5'9", 5'10"?
My
it don't matter.
Philosophy ended up being my type is the type that treats me right.
Yes, yes.
I'm gonna love who loves me.
Oh,
I'm not about to chase after.
Nope.
Run behind, wonder how you feeling. I'm not doing any of that.
No.
None of that.
No. And I think a lot of women, I'm trying to think of his name. He's a relationship guy. He always does this lever thing. He has an example of a lever. And he says that, okay, well, in relationships, he says what women do is when they get interest, especially if you're lonely, a lot of times they just give it all, right? They give it all. And so now this man knows, oh, I don't have to do much. Is she going to give me all of this? I'm going to stay right here. Yep. And so instead of giving your absolute all in the beginning, you've got to give some. And then it's like, oh, let me catch up. And then he'll be like, let me give some. Oh, let me catch up. And now it's who can outgive each other, right? We had someone on our podcast and he was saying how dating in these streets is who can give the least.
How can I keep all of what I got and get everything from you?
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that for people that experience that, but I do feel like it's a societal thing. I feel like it's a cultural thing for a lot of people, where dating is very much men that think that that make money, think that that's enough. I think that's a toxic thing that's happening in today's society. And I also think that women thinking that being beautiful is enough, that's a super toxic thing. That's not the reality of the situation. And I think that, most people don't know who they are or take the time to find out. And so we're all just out here trying to flitter our way around and see what works or what doesn't. And we get stuck.
Unhealed, broken people, lots of sex.
Yeah.
Lots of a lack of intention.
Ooh.
And a whole lot of expectations.
Ooh.
And it's not, the math ain't mathing.
It is not. You said it and that hurt my stomach to think about it.
It ain't mathing. Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. So how did you, did you feel like you were in your masculine before your husband?
Yes.
Okay.
during my husband. He will tell you.
Okay.
Yes.
And you had to learn to let it go.
Yes.
What are the top
It is a
3
journey.
things you had to let go of?
Girls, letting go of consistently, currently, all of the time. I was 31, I think, when I met him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 31 years
Being one way.
of being. And that is also why I feel like we have to give one another grace. Like we have to be patient with one another. Just as you understand you are not perfect, you got to give them grace to work through their imperfections as well. And I told him literally like 2 days ago, like, I'm in a season right now where I'm, and I've been going to therapy, but I'm soul searching and I'm doing all of these things, reading all the books, and figuring out a whole lot of stuff that's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And I literally said to him the other day, like, I'm so glad I didn't know all this shit was wrong with me before we met. Like, if I had to present myself to you aware of all of this, that would have been scary for you and I.
Yeah.
So marriage is a mirror. Like,
yes.
He's literally showing me who I am every day and who I ain't. Like, you thought you was this, but no, this is who you are. And so every day I'm learning things that I need to, improve, or ways that I can grow and develop. Specifically, allowing him to help me was a big thing.
Yeah.
Simple things like opening the door, and not like me naturally waiting for him to open the door versus me running up to pull it. Having the luxury of having a man versus me feeling like I got to do everything for myself. So that is definitely an adjustment. Trusting that he's going to have me. So not just, his physical presence, but trusting that, okay, I can tell you, when my feelings are hurt. I can be vulnerable with you. I can tell you, when I'm scared or when I need help, and your response is that, your response makes me feel like this is a safe space.
Yeah.
So it took several of those feeling like this is a safe space for me to, get to the point of being able to be open and vulnerable. But girl, when somebody sees you like literally busting it open and having their child, ain't nothing, it don't get much more intimate than that.
Yeah.
So we have far surpassed like, me being too timid to tell him anything, or me, feeling like I can't share. But those are definitely some things that you have to work through if you can't even allow someone to love you or lead you or help you.
Yes.
I think men can definitely feel that.
Yeah. And I also think on the flip side, can they be what you need as well? Because imagine you finally letting down your guard. So that's beautiful for your husband that he was receptive of you to let your guard down and ask for help, or let your guard down and be vulnerable. And it wasn't received with or returned with a slap in the face, in the sense of, why are you so emotional? Or it wasn't gaslighting, or it wasn't a level of manipulation, or even just it wasn't not being emotionally intelligent enough to understand that he needs to be compassionate in that moment.
Well, there's been those moments too, though.
Okay.
And I very much so have I'm my man. Yes. I have my husband up on a pedestal.
Good.
However, he is definitely very human.
Yeah.
And he's been in toxic relationships before. I told you he was married before. So he has had moments that he reverts back to thinking I'm, somebody else based on a past situation. So I don't want to, sit here and make it seem like we never have disagreements and he's just so perfect all the time. Majority of the time, yes. Like, it is way more good than bad.
Right.
However, there are still, we are still human. And as much as I love him, there are still challenges. There are still times when it's like, well, there's still things that we go through. Yes. Continuously. So I just want to point that out that,
it's work.
This is not no Instagram perfect relationship. It is really real out here. And marriage is hard. Yes. It is work.
Yes.
It's worth it, but it's work.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I think that I'm working through with my therapist. We're preparing me to be a wife. And I that's what we're working through. The fear of, dang, does this person have me for real? Even through the fights, can you have the hard conversation? There's this really great book that I read. Oh man, are you familiar with the four horsemen, the Gottman theory?
Mm-mm.
So Gottman is a man that can predict whether relationships will end up to 98% accuracy. And he says if you see these four horsemen in a relationship, all four, you can guarantee the relationship will end probably within 7 years or 3 years, 5 years, or 15 years. So he has these timestamps depending on how he sees these things. And so Gottman talks about contempt. If you're contemptuous, which means you put yourself above someone else. If you are defensive, meaning you're not receptive to what that person is saying. If you are, what is it called? Critical. You're constantly picking at that person. Or if you stonewall, which is when we shut down, right? And so if you have these four things inside of a relationship.
Wait, girl, you mean all four of them? Or you can't have any of them?
If you have all four, it's a guarantee that you will end your relationship.
But we all got a couple of them, right?
Yes, but the point is to work on those things because those things ruin relationships, right? They end relationships over time. It's like a water drop on a rock. Over time, a drip of water dripping on a rock consistently will split the rock, right? The four horsemen are exactly that. And so it's crazy because he talks about a book and he said, no matter what, when my wife and I have horrible arguments, and it doesn't even mean they're yelling. It's just sometimes you passionately feel so differently from the other person and you don't understand why they don't understand what you're saying, that it creates a tension, right? It creates the energy inside of the house that's not awesome. You know, we're human and we feel how we feel. But he says, no matter what, when we go to sleep at night, no matter how angry I am, because, you know, there's going to be times, even in relationships, I'm not married yet, but I'm sure when I'm married, there'll be times when I want to throw my whole marriage away, but I don't, you know, but I think about it, but I don't, right? He says, no matter what, when we go to sleep at night, our big toes have to touch. And he says, sometimes touching toes is really hard.
Yeah, because I want to
kick you out the bed. I want to this is Sparta you out this bed, right? So I feel like it's little things like that that make all the difference. Are you willing to do repair? And that's the part inside of a lot of relationships, romantic and platonic, that people miss. Are your toes willing to touch? Can you have those hard conversations? Can you agree to disagree? Can you allow someone to be who they are, right? And I think because a lot of us think that love has turned into possession. Love has turned into control. Well, if you have no control, because we don't, do you really love that person for real?
Are you still there?
If
you can't experience this person in the way that you want to, will you still be there?
Yeah. I know you've done a lot of trauma work on yourself. What is the hardest part of doing this work for you?
Oh, when you actually want to do better, you hold yourself to a different standard.
Yes.
It is so much easier. Like ignorance is bliss. That is really true. Because if you are ignorant to what you need to do, then you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But once, you know, I believe in, you know, if you knew better, you do better, right?
Yeah.
So once you have learned, okay, these are the things that you actually need to work on, now you just be a fool to not work on them. So that is a really hard part. And then realizing that you're still a work in progress. You know, realizing that you've come so far, you've gotten over, you know, these 10 things, but dang, you still got 20 more, you know, to go. So it truly is a journey. It is not a destination. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
What does that look like for you? Like, how do you actually do that journey?
Oh, that journey looks like a lot of self-reflection.
Do you journal about it?
I do journal about it. And I'm getting better at making sure it's a fair self-reflection versus a critical self-reflection.
Oh, that's so good. Break down the difference just for people that are...
Oh, the difference is a critical self-reflection is all of the things that I did wrong, all of the things that I should have known better, all of the things that I could have done better, all of the ways, you know, that somebody else probably would have done it better, all of the ways that I expected myself to do better, the reasons why I'm disappointed, versus a fair assessment of the set of experiences that led me here. Assessing the cause of a decision, but in a fair way, in a way that is not just beating up on myself, basically. Because a lot of times we extend grace to everybody else. We'll make excuses we'll do all of the things, but then for us, we expect ourselves to have done it perfectly every single time.
Right.
you're never going to live to that standard. So I would say that is the hardest part.
Okay. So you journal about it.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you do?
What else do I do? I see a life coach instead of a therapist.
Okay.
So this is new. And the difference so far in my experience has been more practical conversations versus a whole lot of but why? But why? But why? That's very annoying for me.
Yeah.
That's annoying. So life coach, definitely. I'm very big on, I was going to say reading, but that's a lie. Listening. I guess listening. Audiobooks these days is my new thing.
Shout out to Audible.
Come on, Audible. I'm sure you got a link somewhere. Come on, Audible.
Look, I'm Audible. I would love to represent you and talk about you on every episode because I do every time.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to work with Audible. Audible, I'm going to work with you. You just don't know it yet. Or maybe you do.
Maybe they do. Maybe they're already here.
Maybe you're already here.
Yeah, those are my things. And I think just consistently being committed to the process of not getting comfortable.
Ooh, that's so good.
It's so hard.
Of course, because naturally our brains say be comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like it's scientifically proven. We don't want the uncertain.
No.
So why would we disrupt what we've been doing? But that's why so many of us live stuck in who we don't. Yeah, yes, instead of who we want to be. Oh, that's so good. Ooh, girl.
It's work out here. And that is what I need for everybody to know. That regardless of what it looks like on Instagram, regardless of what you think is going on, it is work.
Period.
It is work. It is rough. It is whatever you got going on, everybody else got it going on too.
Right.
So however hard you think it is for you, please know that that is everybody else's reality. I haven't met anybody yet that is just out here just skating through life with no obstacles.
I don't trust
no
them.
challenges.
If they talk like that.
If they try to sell you that lie, listen, don't believe it. But just know that, everybody that you are inspired by, they're just trying to figure it out too.
Yes. And forever. It's an always ongoing process. Like always. I love that. And I feel like social media has created this thing where we feel like life is supposed to just be perfect all the time. The perfect meals and the perfect partner and the perfect relationship and the perfect family. Stop it.
Because that's all we see.
Oh my gosh.
We see the perfect picture from a perfect snapshot of everyone's life.
Oh my goodness. And and I get it. Like, it's our highlight reel, but I think that's why I just have no problem sharing the ugliest parts of my journey, because you may see it. Yes, I care about an aesthetic. However,
show you what's really going
let's
on.
Talk about the real, So I think that that's so important. Okay, we have to shift gears. I have 2 questions for you, and they're very hard questions.
Okay.
They are the hardest questions you've ever been asked
let me
in your life. Okay. So this is the part of our show where we say it's giving something positive versus negative based on a question that I ask you. You have to tell me which one you would choose.
Okay.
Okay. So you are on a date with your partner and you have 1 bite of food left and you're about to eat it. And before you do, your partner grabs your food and eats it himself. It's giving, do you love me for real? I thought the last bite was always supposed to be mine and you ate off of my plate. Are you tripping? Or it's giving, oh, well, I guess he was hungry.
Girl, stop playing. Absolutely not. It's giving, where is your food? Do not eat my last bite. We could have split that thing in half. Now, I am okay with that. We could split the last bite, but don't play.
Like, he didn't even ask.
That's disrespectful.
Disrespect.
Was it a joke? Did you order me another one? There must be another one coming. That's what it's giving. This has to be a joke.
It's giving, you better ask the right questions. Yes. I love that. Okay, so I have to ask a woman because we've asked a man this before, and his answer tripped me out. I'm not going to lie, okay? You're married, so it might be a little bit different, but we're going to use your husband, okay? So, no, we can't. This is before you guys were married.
Okay.
And you don't live together.
We don't live together, okay.
And he's coming he stays the night at your house. And he leaves the next morning because he has to be out early, and he goes and he calls you and he lets you know, hey, babe, sorry, I didn't really get to say bye, but just so you know, I used your toothbrush because I forgot mine. It's giving, what, why, how, where, never. Or it's giving, oh, well, at least his breath smells fresh.
Are these real questions? Stop it. That's disgusting.
Disgusting.
That is disgusting. And why would you tell me that?
Why?
Now I'm never, no. That's almost a deal breaker. Unless it's a joke. Are you? No. That's disgusting.
I kid you not. Koereyelle, we had somebody on our show. I can't wait for this clip. Y'all might have saw the clip already. Okay, this man was like, "We swap fluids anyway."
No,
what is a kiss? It is bacteria from your teeth.
That's disgusting.
That's so gross.
Your old food particles on my toothbrush.
Bacteria.
That's disgusting.
Like your tongue.
That's disgusting.
The back of it. It's just a no.
But men are nasty like that.
Men are. You know what? Kenny was like, I understand.
Yeah,
don't you remember Kenny?
Men are nasty.
Men are gross.
Yeah, they are. Y'all are nasty.
Get
your own toiletries and beauty care. You better put some. If you care.
Yeah, toothpaste on your finger and just get in there.
Gross. No,
I could never. Don't ever use my tooth. Do your future husband. Do not ever use my toothbrush. And if you do, just don't tell me.
Right. I would have never known that. No. It could be happening right now and I have no idea.
I would prefer
Ignorance
that.
Is bliss.
It's giving not flexible in that area.
No,
okay.
No.
Okay. So final question.
Mm-hmm.
I love to read and I love that you're reading. You love to read and listen to books. And like I said, Audible.
Holla.
Shout out to y'all. And so inside of that, I would love to know what book has changed your life and why.
Oh, what book has changed my life and why? So one of my favorite books, I will say, let me think. Because I'm reading one right now that's pretty good, but I'm not done with it. So I can't say it's like changed my life just yet. But it's really given me a lot to think about. So I'm going to share it because I have never heard anybody recommend it. So it's called Finding Your North Star.
Ooh.
Don't make me lie about the author.
Okay.
But Google it, Finding Your North Star. I'm listening to the Audible right now, and it really helps you to distinguish between, she calls it your essential self and your social self.
Ooh.
So your essential self is really your true self, like at your core, who you truly are versus your social self, who you feel like you need to be based on society. So how you can really get to your purpose, like how you can get in alignment with your assignment, regardless of what everybody else got going on, how you can focus on your North Star. So
I love that. I'm going to check that out.
Check it out.
I kind of feel like social self is like alter ego. And essential self is self.
Your pride. It's your need to perform. It's,
to achieve, to build status, prestige, power. Yeah. Yes, that sounds great.
It's really good.
Do you have an alter ego?
Kind of.
Yeah. When does it turn on?
A professional one.
Yeah, I mean, it don't matter. Whatever.
Yeah, like a professional
in business.
Yeah, in business. I have like an alter ego, like on stage, because I am an introvert naturally.
Yeah.
So the person who I need to be on stage, I don't know who that.
Which is wild because you're so funny. You're so relatable. Like it's like I could just sit here and talk to you all day.
Well, I could sit here and talk to you all day, but like being out, if we were out at an event, I would be like in the back of the room, like pretending to be on my phone. Yeah, that's just me. So yeah, I do have alter ego. I need to name her.
Yeah. What is she like? What's her essence?
She's confident.
Okay.
She knows that she's there for a purpose. I think the introvertness comes from like lack of intention, maybe, of being in the room. Look at me, just
awareness, powerful awareness.
Wow, where did that come from?
Come on.
Okay. That dropped in my spirit. All right, maybe that was for somebody out there.
Yeah, I love that. So maybe, honestly, when people say they're introverted, I'm like, what does that mean? But maybe it's just a lack of intention with where you're at.
Yep, that might be it. I just said something there.
Yeah, I think that's a book.
Yeah,
you need to write that.
From. Wow, okay.
You need to fill in those gaps and put it on the market.
That needs to be a journal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then turned into a book for the rest of us to read. Because that just dropped in my spirit.
Oh, something.
Sheesh. Corey, okay, you've got to let these people know, how can they find you? What are you up to?
Yes.
Let us know.
I am hosting podcasts.
Yes.
I mean, this is like my favorite thing to do.
Yes.
Not only do I host podcasts, I have gotten into producing podcasts.
Come on.
So that has been a fun side of things. But my podcast, Girl Stop Playing, is here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential. New episodes drop every single Sunday. You can follow us on Instagram at Girl Stop TV. I'm at Koereyelle. I have another podcast called Dear Auntie, and I'm dropping a third podcast really, really soon called Wifed Up Now What? And we got content coming, baby. So stay connected. Instagram is my favorite place to hang out, and that's where you can find me.
I love it. Well, I'm so grateful that you came on the show today, girl. Literally, I'm like, I love what you're doing. I love how you talk. I love how my nervous system feels when I'm talking to you.
Really?
Yeah, because sometimes people give you energy, and it's like, this doesn't feel right. I feel really good inside of your energy.
Thank you.
You have a very calming, soothing energy.
That is my favorite compliment.
Yeah?
Yes.
Truly.
I
received that. It's honest.
Thank
you feel safe.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's weird because we don't know each other that well, but it's like,
but that makes it mean even more because you're not just saying that.
No, I'm not, I don't say that.
Thank you.
If y'all know me, do not say that, girl. But yes, thank you so much for joining the show. We absolutely loved you. Guys, thank you again so much for watching another episode. If you are interested in hair like this or switching it up like I do on this show, make sure to check out the Virgin Hair Fantasy. You can use my Instagram name as a special discount code, Ms. Sarah Fontenot, MSSARAH FONTENOT. And if you haven't heard it before, you haven't heard it today, you are freaking amazing, phenomenal, bomb.com. Nothing can stop you but you got to do something about it. Love you guys. Bye.